Hey y'all, my name is Adrienne and I make tutorials on video editing. And today I'm going to show you everything that you need to know in order to edit your very first video in Premiere Pro. So let's get into it. You can see I have Premiere open already for us, and I want you to go up to the top left corner and hit New Project. This window is going to open. I want you to always give your project a unique name. You always should choose your location. And I am going to skip import mode. I don't like using that. I'm also not going to use a template. We don't need that. Hit create. And now you've opened your first project in Premiere. The first thing that I want you to do is make sure that you are editing in the same workspace that I am in. Go up to the top right corner to workspaces and make sure you have essentials open. So in the top left corner, you have your project panel. This is where all your footage lives, and we will import that footage in just a moment. Right next to that is your program monitor. This shows you your finished project, what it is that you're editing. If you click on the source monitor, this is where you can view each clip that you've imported in its entirety. To the right, you have effect controls, properties, color, graphics, essential sound. If you click these arrows, you can see you also have text. Going down, this is your timeline. And then off to the left is your toolbar. All the way off to the right, this is how you see how loud your audio is. So the first thing that you need to do is import footage into your project. So go back over to your project panel and click Import Media. I'm going to import some B-roll. I also want to import some footage of myself talking, but you can see that that blue button is gone. All you do is hover over that project panel and right-click. And then you can click Import. So if you go down to the bottom, you'll see this little folder icon. It says New Bin, and then you can make a footage bin. And then drag and drop all of your footage into that folder. So you have your footage and you're ready to start editing your project, but you don't have an actual sequence on the timeline. Go down to the bottom of your project panel, click New Item, and click Sequence. I shoot in HD 1080p, 23.976 frames per second. So that is the sequence that I want to select. Go down to Sequence Name. Always give everything a name. Come down and click OK. You can see that that has opened up a sequence on the timeline. I'm going to go up to the project panel, grab the talking head footage of myself, and drag it down onto the timeline. Let me grab the playhead to see where I sit down to start talking. When I look at this image up here in the program monitor, it looks pretty good, but I think I have a little bit too much headroom. So I want to resize and then probably reposition myself just a little bit. In order to do that, make sure your clip is selected on the timeline and then go over to Effect Controls. Underneath Motion, you're going to see Position and Scale. Let's increase the scale a little bit. And then I want to reposition. There are a few things that I want to point out to you that you can do on your timeline. If you select your timeline, you can zoom in and out so that you can see all of the footage on your timeline. You can press the plus key and the minus key to zoom in and out. You'll see here this thicker line on the timeline. Everything above that line is video. Everything underneath that line is audio. If you come over here to the left, over on this black area, and just double click in the middle of the video track, it makes that bigger. And then come down to audio and just double click, and it'll make the waveforms a lot bigger. Okay, we are ready to make our first edit. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. This is very exciting. I want you to come over to the toolbar and click this razor tool, or you can hit C. This is how you're going to make your cuts. Hover over the area where you want to make a cut and just click. You'll see that part of your sequence is selected. If that is the clip that you want to get rid of, to delete, you can just press delete. Now let's come over here and cut out this dead space. But I want to delete this area here in the middle. Go back over to your toolbar and hit the selection tool, or you can hit V. Select that space and hit delete. Something else that you can do is move your playhead down the timeline here. If you want to make a cut exactly where your playhead is, you can hit Command K and it makes a cut right there. I'll move the playhead down and do that again. Now that center clip is selected and I want to delete it, but then I also want to move all of the footage to the right of those cuts, shift all of that footage to the left so there's no dead space in between. You can either hit Shift Delete to do something called ripple delete, or you can select that footage, hit delete, and then in that blank space in the middle, right click and hit ripple delete. All right, I'm going to move the playhead down. I'm going to make a cut. And then, oh no, I just realized that I made that cut by accident. All you need to do is hover over that cut until you see this little red symbol, right click, and then select Join Through Edits. And that gets rid of your cut. All right, we've got our talking head, but you can see there's some dead space here, and that space we're going to need to cover up with B-roll. Let's go up to the project panel. If you double click on any footage in your project panel, it will open it up in the source monitor and you can see it in its entirety. I do not want to pull down that entire clip from my B-roll. I don't want it to start with them off camera. I want it to start with them already on camera. In order to make those selections, you're going to do something called create an in point and an out point. Your in point is where you want your clip to start, and all you do is press I. And your out point is how long you want your clip to be. Let's say it's this long, and I want to press O for out. Now you have three choices for how to add this footage to your timeline. If you want the video and the audio, you can just grab the image, you can see the hand there, and pull it down onto the timeline and drop it down. If this is just an audio clip that you want to use, you can come down here and you can see a waveform and it says drag audio only, and you would click there and pull it down. This footage doesn't have any audio. Let's say you only want video. You'll see drag video only. So I'm going to click that and drag it down onto my timeline. I'm going to lasso all of these clips and pull them down so that there's no dead space. I'm going to go up and I'm going to do the same thing again for that other dead space on the timeline. Now, you may be making some sort of a video where you want to add effects. For us, let's pretend that these people are street performers and they decided they didn't want to be on camera, so we have to blur their faces. So the effect that we want to add to this clip is a blur. If you go up to your project panel, you'll see right next to it, effects. If you click on that, this is where you're going to see audio effects, transitions, video effects and transitions. Everything is in here, as well as a search. I'm going to search for blur, and I'm going to use this Gaussian blur. Click it and drag it onto the timeline and drop it on top of the clip you want to add it to. Then if you go over to Effect Controls, you'll see Motion. We talked about Position and Scale already. All of these other changes that you can make to your clip. And if you scroll down, here's the Gaussian blur. Here's that effect you just added. Let's go down to the timeline and move the playhead all the way down to this section of B-roll. We can see that there's a nice zoom in on the footage, and then we cut to me sitting calmly in a chair in my office. Let's pretend we want to mimic that zoom in. We're going to have to animate this clip just a little bit, and we're going to use something called keyframes. If you go over to your effect controls, you can see under position, scale, rotation, opacity, all along here, there are these stopwatches. That means you can animate this clip in so many different ways. I'll show you how to do that with scale. I want you to come back down to the timeline and move the playhead to the part of the clip where you want to start changing the scale. Then go back up to Effect Controls and hit the stopwatch. It says Toggle Animation. If you come over here, you'll see a little bit of a triangle. That is a keyframe. This is where your animation will start. I am also going to hit Position. That creates a keyframe under Position. Back down to the timeline. I'm going to move the playhead to where I want my animation to stop. Go back up to Scale and let's zoom in, and then I'm going to reposition the frame. And you can see doing that created second keyframes, a second set of keyframes here. So if we move this playhead here, you can see the animation that we created. Now, something else you may want to add to your project is a transition. So if you come down to the timeline, I'm just going to zoom in. And then again, go back up to that effects panel. I'll X out of blur, and you can see audio transitions and video transitions. Let's go down to video transitions, dissolve, and let's just do a standard cross dissolve. Drag and drop it on top of the edge of your clip and let it go, and then you'll see a nice cross dissolve. You can shorten or lengthen that transition by hovering over it and then double clicking. You can see right now it's 1 second and 6 frames. You can change this to make it 2 seconds. You can change it to make it 10 frames long, shorter or faster, shorter or longer, and then hit OK. Go over to Essential Sound. The first thing you'll see at the top is that Premiere has identified this clip as dialogue, which it is. If it's not, you click Clear Audio Type, and then you can select what your audio is. And then coming down, you'll see Enhance Speech with an Enhance button. This is an AI tool that Premiere has added. We're going to click it and let it do its thing. And that fast, Premiere has just done a huge amount of work for you in correcting your audio. And you can always come down here and change the mix amount. Now you always want to look at your levels here for your audio. And if your audio is too loud or too quiet, under the Essential Sound panel at the bottom, you'll see Clip Volume, and you can raise it and you can lower that volume wherever you need it to be. You might be in a position where maybe you want to add some text on your screen. You can do that by coming over to the toolbar all the way down at the bottom. You'll see the Type tool. You can click that, go on to the program monitor and just click, and then you can type. If you would like to change anything about that text, come over to the Properties panel and you'll see the font, you'll see the font size. You can open up Appearance and change the color. You can add a drop shadow. You can do quite a bit in here under Properties. Now, if text just isn't enough for you and you want to add some graphics, if you go over to the Graphic Templates panel, you'll see that Premiere has quite a few graphic templates available for you, which is great. And last but not least is color. I want you to go down to your timeline and select the video clip. Go up to the Lumetri color panel. We are just going to do basic color correction today. If you are interested in more tutorials on color correction or color grading, I have several tutorials of those that I'll link one of them up above. But come down here to basic correction and open it up. You'll see input LUT first. Now I did shoot this footage in log, which is why it is so desaturated. I am going to skip that for this tutorial. That's advanced color grading. So we're just going to come down here and we're going to select this auto button. This is another AI tool that Premiere has added for us to use, and it works very well. So let's click that. And look at that, that already looks better. The next thing I want you to do is come down to white balance and select the eyedropper and then find something white in the frame, very white. Like I'm going to do this bright spot on my plant. And that makes a small adjustment to the footage. Now, if you come down here to the timeline, you'll realize that you have several clips here, but you've only color corrected this last one. I want you to right click and hit copy. Select all the other video clips on the timeline, right click and hit paste attributes. This window will pop open and you'll see that you can change the motion. You can copy and paste opacity, time remapping. All I want to do is add Lumetri color. So we're going to hit OK. Congratulations, you have finished editing your project and now you're ready to export it so that you can upload it to YouTube or wherever it is that you want to show your project. First thing I want you to do is come down to your timeline. I am going to shift all of this footage all the way to the left. So I'm going to ripple delete all of that space. I want you to, on your keyboard, hit end. That will take you to the end of your project. Then I want you to hit O for an out point. Next, come up to the top left corner of your screen and hit export. You always want to give this file a unique name. You always want to be very careful about the location you are saving it to. And then you can select a preset. If you're unsure, you can just keep it at match source, adaptive high bitrate, and this will export your project exactly the way you've edited it. And format, keep it at H.264. Come down to the right and click export. And that's it from me. I hope this was helpful for you, walking you through start to finish how to edit a very simple video in Premiere Pro. If you'd like some extra editing tips, I do have some free suggestions at the link in the description box below. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I'll see you in the next one.